Okay, what all new games came out while I was focused on the lead up to episode 200? No More Heroes 3, been waiting years for that to come out. I need something for the Christmas list though. Metroid Dread, that Easter egg in Metroid Prime 3 finally paid off. The new Guardians of the Galaxy game apparently did not suck, nice. And sequel to Gray Skies.
So, earlier this year I reviewed Gray Skies, a War of the Worlds story, a game that had absolutely nothing to do with War of the Worlds, nor did it have much of any kind of story. You played a completely anonymous woman named Harper, wandering aimlessly about an apocalypse whilst being too stupid to actually pick up and use any weapons, so she sneaks around zombies. Yes, zombies in War of the Worlds. It was marked by crappy AI, lousy level design, shit controls, squat for enemy variety, bad guys that were pitifully easy to avoid, and a crafting system that was utterly worthless up until it completely broke the game. But a tripod shows up 3 times, so War of the Worlds. In fairness, it was developed by 3 people. And less than 1 year later, here we are with the sequel, Darker Skies, which I admit is a great title. Now if they make a third one, it'll have to be called Black Skies, which will make the title of I Saw Black Clouds really confusing. The game takes place 1 year after the initial Martian landing. The Martians are all dead from Earth's natural viruses, but now resources are scarce and there's no government of any kind to maintain order. That's actually an interesting idea to take the sequel, implying that there will be roaming bands of criminals or other frightened packets of humanity or wannabe tyrants trying to establish their own rule. Instead of you still just fighting nothing but zombies, you're still just fighting nothing but zombies. The vast majority of survivors are apparently suffering from red psychosis, aka an excuse why all the enemies are still zombies that just murder people on sight. So the interesting World War Z-esque story about scattered remnants of humanity having to start over goes nowhere. Also, there's no explanation for why zombies can still magically teleport with lightning if they're no longer aided by alien tech, but whatever. Our protagonist is Jack, a guy who exists, and he's trying to repair a Martian heat ray to do stuff. We are told nothing about this character. You have to explore 6 levels to acquire the parts to repair the heat ray, and that's it. Well, that's one major improvement over the first game. You have an actual cogent objective and an excuse why all the levels are disconnected random environments. And no, Harper from the first game is not mentioned once in this one. I can just hear all the craps you don't give. The gameplay is largely unchanged from the first one. You wander through a level sneaking and crouch walking around zombies that quickly pound you into the dirt if you get caught, picking up rocks to cause diversions, and also random materials to craft jugs of water and electrical bombs that won't actually do anything. You're meant to throw a taser into a pool of water to stun zombies, but standing to slowly throw 2 different items might as well send up a signal flare to every zombie in the area before you can actually do anything. They did fix the throwing controls from the last game to where objects will reliably travel to where you aim because yes, the initial game was just that broken, but fix one thing and break something else. You have a detective vision called Focus Mode that lets you see all nearby enemies and brings up a line pointing to your next objective, except the damn thing almost constantly fails to highlight enemies even if they're a few feet ahead of you in plain sight, and the objective marker seems specifically rigged to fail anytime it's not blatantly obvious where you're supposed to go anyway. You can also pick up red weeds to purchase upgrades to your health and new crafting items of marginally more usefulness, smoke bombs and flashbangs to shake enemies, for example. You have the exact same inventory, the exact same crafting system, even the exact same upgrades as the first game. I'm 90% certain the game only switched protagonists to explain why you have to unlock all the same crap all over again. The only thing that's added from the last game is now you have a gun. Yeah, this game expects you to keep messing around with tasering pools of water and setting up flashbangs to avoid enemies when you can just shoot them in the face! And they won't respawn! And despite the fact that you're fighting ordinary humans that are just suffering from psychosis, shooting them in the brain will not kill them! In fact, often 2 headshots will not kill them. You're about guaranteed to take damage back anytime you try to shoot someone. And despite it being a core gameplay mechanic, there are no upgrades to make Jack more adept at handling firearms, probably because that would have entailed actually updating literally any of the systems from the first game. You have your pick of 6 levels that you can play in any order you want, so let's try the plane crash. Jack is not ready for this area yet. Okay, never mind. How about Castleton? Whatever in the hell that is. Jack is not ready for this area yet. Well, at least it doesn't pull a Mega Man and let you jump into levels set up to fail miserably because you don't have mandatory equipment. Okay, amusement park level then. There are two different kinds of enemies in the game. Regular zombies that patrol around, spot you, and attack, and the severely psychotic, which are almost blind, track you by sound, and can't see you if you're standing still. So again, exact same as the first game. The amusement park stage is patrolled by a fairly large number of zombies, but all of them are the severely psychotic enemies that can barely detect you. You can cruise through the level exploring for items at your leisure, walking out brazenly in the open, so long as you stay crouching and remember to sit still if one of the enemies actually spots you. The bulk of the enemies can barely hurt you. Oh, and for enemies that track you by sound, the zombies must have shit hearing because I stopped to shoot a zombie that was in my way, and the 3 or so zombies that are left just across the yard, they didn't budge. Literally the only hard part in this level is the part where a zombie just pops out of a wall and ambushes you for a beginner's trap, and I almost swear that I killed this zombie and then later he glitched back to life. Either that or there was a hidden second zombie that didn't appear in the useless-ass focus vision! The first game differentiated between zombies by having the strongly controlled be surrounded by electricity, but they don't do that here. So how the hell do you tell the difference between normal zombies and the severely psychotic? Well, that's easy. The severely psychotic are all women. No, I'm not joking. It's divided by gender, with all the female zombies being howling, gibbering insane, and also borderline useless. The amusement park ends with a tricky stealth section, 2 normal zombies mixed with a severe psycho, and you start out kind of boxed in with nowhere to hide, so you have to act fast if you don't want to die. Alright, I have this gun! I can just shoot all 3 of them in the head! Problem solved, bitch! Next, I played the apartment complex, which is mostly empty so that you just waltz right through the whole stage. Again, almost all the enemies in this level are the severely psychotic that ignore you if you stand still and are basically blind as bats in the first place. Look at this. Standing out in the open in the middle of the room, got spotted, nothing happens, because these enemies are useless. You'd think that a stealth game that gives you a gun would have challenging encounters forcing you to weigh the risks of using your weapon and giving away your position versus saving your ammo and taking more complex ways through the stage, but the severe enemies are so piss easy to avoid that I only needed to fire 1 shot this whole level. Though it really helps that the one room in the building that's supposed to be a challenge, a regular zombie mixed in with 3 severes in a small tight area, all 4 zombies got stuck in a door. I am not even kidding, because each zombie has exactly 1 strict patrol path and any obstruction just makes their brains melt and dribble down their legs like a runny shit as they walk in place forever. Friggin' whoops! Next, I tackled the prison, which utterly showers you with health and ammo pickups and has a grand total of 1 non-severe zombie, and even that 1 zombie who might have been a threat seemed to have better things to do and just wandered out of the stage as soon as I found him. Seriously, he just left. Even the game's enemies want nothing to do with this game. The prison, again, is mostly empty and populated near exclusively by the practically blind zombies. I used my gun to clear out 1 room out of impatience, and I had fully replenished my ammo with change before I left said room. I actually had to pass up picking up health packs in this zombie survival game because you're only allowed 3 and I was already topped off. Am I just missing the actual game here? There's no stealth in this stealth game! Castleton is a city which seems to flat-ass recycle most of a similar map from the first game, only this time with vastly fewer zombies, and the zombies that did stick around are stupid and get stuck on rocks. Seriously, only 2 non-severe zombies that are an actual threat appear the whole stage, and I just shot them in the head.
Oh no, I thought they were all dead.
Holy friggin' shit! Martians! They actually have you fight aliens in a War of the Worlds game! Who would have thought they bothered to add a new enemy type? Martians can't be killed, die to air but immune to bullets, go figure. And you have to cross a street to get past one with pretty much no usable cover whatsoever, so you're told to use smoke bombs to get past it. Huh. Got a minute-long fuse on those smoke bombs, do we? Let's try that again. I can't tell where I'm going. Am I actually getting past the Martian, or am I just walking into it? I can't see shit. Oh, I was walking into a wall. Grand. Oh, screw it. It's gone anyway. So, dumb question. What if you spend all your upgrade points on upgrading Jack instead of getting new inventory items and you don't have the smoke bomb yet? Would this level just be unwinnable? This level ends with you needing to cross another long-ass road that has no cover, it's all ensconced by invisible walls, and it's patrolled by a rotating guard of severe zombies. Your only way through without resorting to woefully unreliable items is to just walk alongside a zombie as it slowly shambles its way down the road, off to the side where it can't see you. This takes something like 5 minutes. Jeez, frickin' hurry up, you bitch! Turn around, turn your bitch ass around! Oh hey, Jack turned invisible except for his health gauge and his gun. How about that? Enough of this shit! Oh, and by the way, Jack has an electrical tablet for a health gauge like in the last game, but his whiteboard is dated 1938. You also find video game controllers in the apartments, full-body metal detectors, and Jack has an electrical laptop, so methinks Jack can't tell time. Fifth up is a stadium and... wait. Shit! I forgot to spend my upgrade points! And no, you can't go back to the hub world once a level starts. Grand. I'll actually give them some credit here. This level's atmosphere is friggin' creepy, man. You stumble across items in gore-filled rooms that are very obviously booby-trapped, giving the implication that either the zombies are getting smarter or something darker is afoot, and this friggin' intense, pounding music building up to a fever pitch plays on the soundtrack. It is genuinely scary. But the actual level is almost completely friggin' empty apart from one stealth encounter with 7 or so normal zombies at the very end, and that's it! This would be the opening of a level in the first game, but here in the sequel, this one encounter is a full 1/6 of the whole campaign! I shouldn't complain though. This feels like the first real stealth encounter in the game that takes actual planning and strategy that you can't just shoot your way out of. Alright, gotta think tactical. Let's try throwing a rock and see what happens. Wow. All the enemies go investigate the noise at once, leaving the area completely empty. Brilliant AI design. You know what else is brilliant? Jumping up on a box where none of the zombies can reach you and just shooting them all to death at your leisure. This reminds me, I'm gonna have to do Metal Gear Survive at some point. Why does this bullet hole look like the zombies just got a tomato sliding off his face? Last of the selectable levels, let's finally go into that wrecked plane. And it's a boss fight with a tripod. Well, someone remembered this is supposed to be War of the Worlds? Well, this fight is super easy since you just run into a section of the plane, grab a mortar shell, and take it to a mortar to shoot at the walker. You do this 8 times, and the infamously nigh unkillable war machine that normally withstands nukes and wipes out armies by breathing on them dies to basic-ass munitions. It shoots heat rays back at you, but given that the plane is mandatory terrain to pick up items, a sheet of light metal blocks the person-sized death ray. After a while, it spawns a whole 2 zombies to try and stop you, and later a group of 3, but by this point in the game, I had saved up 130 bullets for my gun. I've got usable cover and over 20 magazines. They ain't got shit. And Jack's dialogue after the boss fight either doesn't play or was never recorded in the first place, so thank you, subtitles! So Jack's heat ray is finally repaired, and I've saved up supplies to where I am so ready for whatever final level we're breaking into here. I'm geared up with 2 med packs and enough bullets to blow through an entire horde of zombies! Or maybe we're breaking into some kind of alien hive. Now it's been established that some Martians are still kicking around, and they made the effort of pulling in some actual aliens in the town level. So you return to Jack's little hideaway in the sewers, fire the heat ray at a big-ass wall, and... credits! The game just ends! Turns out Jack was trying to get into a bunker loaded with food and supplies so he could send out a call for people to make a settlement and start rebuilding society. Game's over. With some of the slowest running credits that I've ever seen to cover up the fact that this was still made by 3 people. Well, now I see why they block you from going to the plane wreck level. That's the final boss! I was conserving ammo and armed like a friggin' strike commando, and the final level only sent a piddly-ass 5 zombies after me? Gee, it's almost like the game wasn't geared or balanced around having a gun at all! If you don't play the amusement park first like I did, I'm fairly sure you're given the ammo to gun through all the enemies in what's meant to be a sneaky stealth game. Or at least I think it is. This is one of the most pathetic stealth games that I've ever seen! I seriously don't believe this. There was a grand total of 1 real stealth encounter the entire game with enemies that are actually a threat and that you can't just easily shoot your way out of. And even that could be cheesed if you spotted the right terrain. All the rest are enemies with such a stupid-ass weakness that in almost every case you have to try and get killed, or they're encounters that end as soon as you get bored and just start popping caps into zombie asses because the new combat wasn't balanced in any remote way. The most effort they put into this thing was to create a new alien enemy type to get some freaking use out of the War of the Worlds setting, and said enemy you encounter all of once, sneak past a single time, and then they never show up again. And the final boss is a joke. Darker Skies feels like the prototypical rushed sequel that you often get following big hits in the games industry, the churned out kind that more or less just does the first game again and feels slapdash in every respect, except the big release that's being ridden is friggin' Gray Skies, an indie game that was a laughingstock. So A, why did you need to strike while the iron was hot on this? And B, you have that much lower a starting point for a rushed sequel to make even worse. In all honesty, and I never thought I'd say this, Gray Skies was much better than this. The first game felt like it had actual thought put into enemy encounters and scenarios. It had shitty gameplay, but it had lots of it shitty gameplay. Darker Skies feels like a wet fart of nothingness that you just breeze through. The kind that feels super padded and is still uber short at maybe like 2 hours long. The game gives you an email address in the sewer hub world, and the address is "What a waste of time." Probably meant as a joke. Feels like a developer's cry for help. I didn't even have a chance to sing like I did in the first review. Really, I didn't. Let's wake up the dead. Oh yeah. It's better than ever, you know. More tears are shed. Oh yeah. I'm praying that you'll never know that I'm facing hell.